Howdy, friends and floorheads. Monster of the Week mysteries start with a teaser. It is dusk in the woods bordering the small college town of Sewanee, Tennessee. The forest is too quiet, calm, and watchful. Moonlight bleeds through the trees of Shakarag Hollow as Doris sweeps her flickering flashlight ahead of her. Nathan, her fellow hiker, trails close, breathing labored. Every step somehow feels wrong. Then a snap. A branch? It sounds close. They both freeze. A soft whimper floats out of the dark, childlike, but somehow not a child. It is too dark for them to see any features. The shape of a small child emerges from the forest floor. Then another. And another. Doris raises her light towards the sound and the shapes, but her flashlight dies. It just blinks out. "Nathan," she whispers. He gives a hushed but firm one-word answer. "Run." And they run. Through brambles and fog, something chases, not footsteps, but spreading, somehow growing. A vine lashes out to Nathan's leg and yanks him down. Moss creeps fast up his side, slick and alive. Doris grabs his arm and pulls. Just as suddenly, the vines recoil, vanishing into the dark, and the young hikers flee. Minutes later, they burst into the lights of a lonely gas station, covered in mud. Shaking, bleeding, Nathan collapses, coughing. Doris turns back to the trees, eyes wide. It wasn't a kid, she says. They were not children. And just then, the blues and reds of a sheriff's patrol car lights their faces. Attention, brave viewers. This video features adults immersed in a spine-chilling horror RPG experience. The content likely includes supernatural elements, horror-related events, and potentially scenes of violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. To say I'm excited about this, it'd be very much an understatement. Let's get started. Highway 64 West, spring 2005, southern Tennessee. The road winds west through the soft green hills, the sky fading from dusk into shadows. The Remington family RV isn't much to look at. Faded white with a mustard stripe, curtains bleached by the sun, a fridge that hums like an old man. But it holds together. Duct tape, salt under the door, and a few hidden talismans turn it from a rickety vehicle into a home. A base and a bunker. Classic rock buzzes through the worn speakers as cicadas sing outside. Van grips the wheel of the RV, jaw set, eyes fixed on the mission. In the passenger seat, 10-year-old Elias sits, still, except for his hands, which are twitching, like he's hearing something no one else can hear. His plain school uniform appears to have been made just for him. Ahead, Declan's forerunner cuts through the twilight. Declan drives with a fighter's tension, shoulders tight, knuckles white. Beside him, Adriel rides, dressed immaculately in a white three-piece suit. He is silent and watchful, somehow less man than purpose. No music in the forerunner, just two men, the highway and the woods slipping past. The sun drops low, the trees turn dark, and in the bluffs of Cumberland Plateau, the college town of Suwannee waits because the family is rolling in. We're now going to flash back to yesterday. It's late. The RV and the forerunner idle behind a truck stop in West Virginia. Declan and Elias are asleep in the back, and Adriel is in the store buying candy. Van, you sit at the wheel when your burner phone buzzes. No ringtone, just the name in all caps, Bingo, appears on the cracked screen. She never calls without a reason. You pick it up, and her voice slides in warm and sharp. Van, sugar, you miss me?
You know I always do.
Yeah, you know I would expect you to lie if you didn't.
It wouldn't put it past me. Yeah, absolutely. How you doing, Bingo?
I'm doing just fine, baby. And you can hear the pop of a soda can, some mechanical keyboard clacking. She goes, listen, honey, I got something juicy for you. There's a couple of baby-faced hikers in Tennessee, in a Tennessee college town. Suwannee is the name of it. It's just west of where you are now. The area itself is surrounded by woods. The woods are called Shagarag Hollow. The college, get this, the name of the college is the University of the South. Real creative, I guess. They posted a message on a message board last night. Said that the forest came alive. Not like with spooky noises, but like roots moving and vines wrapping and branches grabbing them. And one swore she felt fingers touch her, Van. Fingers in the forest. And I mean touching you in a way you don't want to be touched. Now, jot this down, baby. The names of the hikers are Doris Webster and Nathan Smith. Now, the local sheriff found them at some gas station. They had some weed on them, so they locked them up on possession, and they ain't listening to the stories they're telling. Nobody's believing them, baby. But me, I think they're telling the truth. So, do me a favor, honey. It might be something you and the boys want to check out, and can you let that murder puppet Elias know I said hi? And remind Declan that he can't keep ghosting me. He's got to start answering my texts. And there's like a long pause. Don't say anything to Judgy McJuggerson, the one in the suit. I know he's your brother, Van, but he's creepier than Elias. And hey, baby, don't die before I get a chance to kiss you.
Bingo, thank you for your help. Again, we couldn't do this without you, but I'll keep my eyes peeled if we ever meet in person, and I'll see what I can do for you.
So you hear kind of a sound that she makes on the phone as she hangs up. With that, we're going to flash forward to the present, with the four of you rolling in to Suwannee, Tennessee. As we look at the back bumper of the RV, we see several bumper stickers and magnets with clever puns and messages. Elias, you've been quiet for most of the drive. Van has a picture taped to the dashboard of the RV. It shows a younger Van holding a largemouth bass with something you've never seen before, a smile on Van's face. Next to him is Van's friend, Sam. Now, you know it was Sam's death at the hands of a demon that sent Van down the path leading him to hunt. You also hear a voice in your head. The one you don't tell the others about. The one you have a highly complex relationship with. The one you know gives you the powers to fight darkness. The one that demands a price for that power. It's also the one that you blame for the fire. You're having a conversation in your head with this voice, and it's happening more often as the days are passed.
Elias, tell me about Van. Do we love him?
Yes. We do.
We know he vows revenge on the demon that rescued his friend from reality. Will you help him exact that revenge?
Yes.
Interesting. Elias, what would happen if they knew you talked to me?
I don't think they'd ever understand.
I don't think they would either.
And we just see through that whole thing, Elias just sitting there on the passenger side in the RV itself. Elias, you've been quiet for most of the trip, except for the conversations in your head. What do you say to Van after this conversation?
I think I asked him, Van, do you have any additional leads on the bigger picture here beyond what we're doing here? I think it is important and we should do it, but we know there's something bigger.
Yeah, Elias, I got to tell you the truth. Every road we go down adds a little piece to the puzzle, and all I can say is we just keep moving forward, and we'll eventually get there. But if something does come up that's more promising, you'll know that I'm going to be throwing my weight around as much as possible to go down that road. And I'll fill you in if you have any questions, or we can chat off away from the group if needed. But it's definitely a priority.
Okay, I think that's a great answer.
I'm going to cut to the Forerunner now that's driving ahead of the two of you. Adriel, this part of the country feels more transparent to you, as if the veil is wearing thin between heaven here and hell. You've seen this before in other places where the boundary between the natural and the supernatural is becoming blurred. You're fixated on Elias again. You know he shares blood with your former form and with your brothers. He also is closer to hell than heaven, and you can smell the brimstone on him. In this silent car ride with Declan, it becomes impossible not to bring up your concerns over Elias with Declan. What do you say to break the silence in the Forerunner?
I still have concerns about Elias. He never sits well with me. How do you do it?
Well, he is just a kid. I keep that front and center when I think about him. And that makes it a little bit easier for me. But pray tell, what's troubling you?
He's an abomination.
I feel like we of all people know that abominations ain't all bad.
This one is, though. I can smell it on him.
You know we need more than smell to act, Unc. We'll keep an eye on it. Just try to breathe.
Trust me, I'm keeping an eye on him.
The road winds out of the trees and into the quiet heart of Sewanee, Tennessee. It's a town that feels paused between decades. It has a single gas station, a post office with peeling paint, a diner with letters missing from the sign. Flower boxes hang from crooked lampposts, and the sheriff's cruiser is the nicest car on the street. A few locals walk the sidewalks, mixed with cloisters of college kids. You get the sense everyone knows everyone and has for generations. But just beyond the storefronts and screen doors, the land rises, and the university is overlooking the town like a stone sentinel. The University of the South. Gothic towers cut into the sky, their spires sharp and arrogant. Gray limestone buildings march across the campus like old bones half buried in ivy. The arched windows glint in this fading light. The air feels cooler here, heavier, like the place remembers more than it lets on. Behind it all, the tree line, what the locals call Shagarake Hollow. A dense wall of green that hugs the campus's edge. The forest looks too dark, even for this hour. You find a spot and park the vehicle across from the sheriff's office. A squat brick building with barred windows and a flickering porch light. We're about to get started on a new mystery. Bingo has given us the heads up. These two hikers have encountered something. They're currently locked up here in the sheriff's office. Before we go in there, though, I know two of you have a start of mystery move. So maybe if we can start with Elias's. Elias, what is your start of mystery move?
My start of mystery move is called Premonitions. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, please.
It says, at the start of each mystery, roll plus weird. On 10 plus, you get a detailed vision of something bad that is yet to happen. You take +1 forward to prevent it from coming true, and mark experience if you stop it. On a 7 to 9, you get clouded images of something bad that is yet to happen. Mark experience if you stop it. On a miss, you get a vision of something bad happening to you, and the keeper holds 3 to be spent 1 for 1 as penalties to rolls you make.
All right, so why don't we roll plus weird, Elias, and see what we get?
Yep.
All right, we got a 7. You got a mixed success, and if I remember correctly, what it is, you get a clouded vision, right?
I get a clouded vision. I don't get to take 1 forward, but if I am able to make it stop, I do still get experience.
So, Elias, when the RV pulls in, Van turns the keys off. Your eyes go dark. And this has happened before. You start to see something, and you know this is something that has not happened yet. You see a man. He's naked. And it looks like he's running. And it looks like he's running through a forest, a very dense, thick forest. The forest floor is covered in a green moss. And he seems joyful, happy. In fact, he stops running and he says something, but you can't hear what he's saying. It's cloudy. And it looks like this moss is creeping up his leg. And as the moss slowly takes him over, he seems even happier than before. And then you flash back to being in that front seat again. Declan, talk to me about your start of mystery move. What's it called?
All right, so this is information from the sect. When you're in good standing with your sect, at the beginning of each mystery, roll plus charm. On a 10 plus, they provide some useful info or help in the field. On a 7 to 9, you get a mission associated with the mystery, and if you do it, you'll get some info or help as well. On a miss, they ask you to do something bad. If you fail a mission or refuse an order, you'll be in trouble with the sect until you atone.
So let's roll. Let's see what you get. Ooh, an 11. Remind me. Let's read that 10 plus again.
All right, so very briefly and very usefully, the sect provides useful info or help in the field on a 10 plus.
So Declan, as you pull in to the parking spot right next to the RV, you've got Adriel next to you. As you're about to head out, turning the keys off, kind of putting your things together before you get out of the Forerunner, a meter maid comes by and writes you a ticket and puts it and slides it right into your windshield wiper. And you reach around and grab it and open it up, and there's not a ticket inside. It's in a red ink, and the penmanship tells you that this is a message from the sect. Now, your sect is really all over the place, always hidden the same way you are. And what it says is, the secret is the university. And that's it.
I'm gonna fold that, take it up, put it in my pocket along with the rest of my things as I'm getting ready and unloading out of the Forerunner.
Now, Adriel, you saw all of this happen. Declan, do you hide this message from Adriel?
Not particularly, no. I'm just,
Okay.
I read it. I don't address it immediately, but I don't try make any particular effort to hide it.
Do we think Adriel knows what happened?
I think at this point we've been adventuring long enough that he has that at least Van and Adriel are familiar with the Emberfold. They know that I am a part of it and have been as long as I have been adventuring with them.
Perfect.
So they've seen things like this before.
Got it. So the four of you step out of your vehicles and you are staring at the sheriff's office.
All right, gang. How do we want to approach this? I whip out a kind of a small pocket binder full of all of these IDs from different organizations and entities, pseudo supernatural. Are we Parks and Rec? Are we Department of Agriculture? What do you guys think?
What do you have? That would give us jurisdiction. It's the forest, correct?
The
Fishing and game.
Fishing game, Parks and Rec. If I don't know if we would have this or if Bingo would connect us with this, but since the forest is connected to the university, do we have some kind of university ID, maybe campus police?
I mean, we can always just go FBI.
Forestry, National Park Service.
Forestry is an interesting option because it is a federal entity that might have jurisdiction over the sheriff's.
And nobody has questions about what forestry does.
True.
Because nobody knows what they
Nobody
do.
knows. Yeah. I think no matter what it is, I don't think Elias participates in this particular charade ever with y'all because it would not probably work with a 10-year-old. He just acts like a kid and sneaks in and whatever. He's with you guys, but not with you guys. So,
What do we do, Van?
Or we could do Homeland Security with the it's classified and none of your business routine.
So believe it or not, I don't think there is a Homeland Security in 2005.
Oh,
That's correct. I think Homeland Security would have been established in 2007, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
I'm going to ask you guys how you know that afterward, but we'll get there. I'm impressed. Color me impressed.
I teach history for a living, so.
Oh, touche. Yeah, I'm going to thumb through and forestry. It's what we got. I've got Declan and I've got Adriel's IDs. We know Elias doesn't need a forestry ID.
I'm sorry, what year are we in?
2005.
Apparently.
you're fact checking.
Yeah, I actually looked too. It's 2002.
2003. Well, 2002 was the law, but established DHS on January 24, 2003.
Look at you. I thought it was later.
I never trust teachers.
Nor should you. Or
Valid.
GMs. All right. So I'm imagining, Van, that you've got like this, like one of those accordion folders. And I'm imagining you going to F and then reaching into F and pulling out these forestry IDs.
Yep.
We see Declan and Adriel slide them into their wallets as you slide yours into yours. So we have, if need be, some jurisdiction. What are we doing?
Hey, Elias, as usual, keep an eye out on things, hold down the fort, and in typical fashion, if there's trouble, make the noise, and I'll let you figure that out when it happens, right? We won't even...
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
And Adriel looks out and stay out of trouble.
And when I hand Adriel his, I go, how are we going to explain this 3-piece suit? Your forestry. But whatever, we'll figure it out. So we walk on in into the sheriff's office.
So you walk inside the Swanee Sheriff's office. The air is citrus scented, like someone's just cleaned the place. There's fluorescent lights above. They're buzzing. One flickers just enough to be annoying. The waiting area has 2 plastic chairs, a long dead ficus tree, and a corkboard pinned with faded flyers for church picnics, missing pets, and a notice for a town hall meeting since 6 months ago. Now, behind the counter stands a middle-aged woman in a tan uniform, badge pinned slightly askew. She's built like a linebacker and wears her gray hair in a no-nonsense ponytail. Her nameplate reads, Deputy Sheriff Rhonda Pike. And she looks like the kind of woman that could recite your rights, break your nose, and still make you a cup of coffee afterwards. She kind of raises her eyebrow, especially at Adriel. Gentlemen, can I help you?
Is it morning, afternoon, evening?
Evening.
What is it? Evening. Good evening, Sheriff Pike.
Deputy Sheriff.
Deputy Sheriff. I'm so sorry. You well-deserved title. My apologies. My name's Van. I'm with the Department of Forestry. I show some credentials. And I'd like to talk to you about 2 people you have in custody, a Nathan Smith and a Doris Webster.
The teenagers from last night?
Those are the ones. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I'm holding them on possession charges. Why does forestry want to talk to them?
We believe there might be something more going on to the story than what's obvious at first glance.
They might have some information on some pot farms that we're trying to pinpoint.
They are pretty high. I think they're still high because they're still talking about like the forest doing some weird stuff. So I get that. I think, Van, I want to do our first move. Yes. We're going to do a manipulate someone. So once you've given them a reason, tell them what you want them to do and roll plus charm. So it sounds like we want to get access to these 2 hikers, right?
Yes.
And
see their files.
You can definitely help out. So let's do the help out first. When you help out another hunter, Adriel, so how are you helping?
By chipping in, specifying what we were looking for, pot farms in the forest.
Perfect. So you're going to roll plus cool on a help out. On a 10 plus, you're going to help grants them a +1 to their roll. On a 7 to 9, your help grants them a +1 to their roll, but you also expose yourself to trouble or danger. And on a 1 to 6, you fail. So let's do the help someone.
Okay, and that is cool, correct?
Yeah, but you can go right to the move. Up towards the top of your character sheet.
Help out. There it is.
So you
that
make
gives me an experience point, right?
You do. You failed to roll, so go ahead and mark experience. And Deputy Sheriff Pike kind of looks at you about this whole pot farm thing, and I think she's also really weirded out by your suit because you look just so out of place. And she kind of turns her attention back to Van. So Van, let's now do your manipulate someone.
I'm sure the golden eyes don't help.
That doesn't help.
And the tattoos above the neck just moving so slightly out of your peripheral vision, but when you look, they're not.
You're very unsettling, Adriel.
All right. Roland
got this,
manipulate
man.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So on a 7 to 9, they'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show them that you mean it. So what are you going to do to make it real clear to Deputy Sheriff Pike that you need access to these kids?
I'm going to slide in kind of a comment as we're talking about, based on the outcome, if this pans out to what we think it's going to be, I'll make sure that you and your precinct district gets a significant amount of the credit. So it is just wanted to throw that out there.
So she goes, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And she goes over to the side door. She opens it up, and there's a hallway. And on the left side of the hallway is made up of holding cells. And there's 3 of them, 2 which are occupied. And in the first one, there's a young woman. She has a pink streak in her hair. She's still dirty. They haven't even let her clean up yet. Wearing clothes that make it obvious that she, was going on a hike. And she kind of looks up at you, Van, and then casts her eyes down. You assume that's Doris. And then next to him, you see a man about her age. He's got a low mohawk, and he's similarly looks up at you and then casts his eyes down. Here they are. Just do me a favor. If you learn anything, or if they say anything incriminating, you let me know.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. Deputy Sheriff Rhonda Pike.
All right. So she leaves you 3 there, and she steps out front. She steps out front and she lights a cigarette. Does she see Elias?
Probably.
Where are you?
I think Elias closed and locked the RV and then started to wander around in the street a little, not like in the street, but up and down the street a little bit, to just take the vibe. So he's probably on the sidewalk, maybe leaned up against the building.
After she puts her lighter away and takes a long drag on her cigarette, she looks over at you, Elias, and she goes, son, you lost?
No, I'm not lost.
Where's your parents?
I'm waiting for my uncle. He's coming back in a few minutes.
Honey, who's your uncle?
Don't worry, ma'am. Everything's okay. I'd like to manipulate her.
Well, actually, I'm wondering I think I'm going to make you act under pressure.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure what's going on here, and neither is she. So when you act under pressure, you're going to roll plus cool. What's your cool?
-1.
Oh, beautiful. On a 10 plus, you get to do what you set out to. What are we setting out for here? What are you hoping is the outcome of this exchange?
That she'll just stop worrying about me like I'm some lost child.
Okay.
Just feel some sense of okay, the kid's okay, he's taken care of, no worries. That's his goal here.
All right. So on a 10 plus, so you'll get that. 7 to 9, the keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, a hard choice, or a price to pay. And then obviously a 1 to 6 is a fail. So let's roll act under pressure, Elias.
All right, here it comes.
Ooh, an 11. Very nice. That's even with a -1. All right. So she looks at you and she goes, well, if your uncle doesn't come around here in the next, 10 or 15 minutes, just come inside and we can make a phone call.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And she goes to just leaning up against the sheriff's building and continuing to smoke her cigarette, checking on you. But she doesn't seem to want to mess with you anymore.
I'm wondering,
yeah,
if you don't mind,
Please.
I'm wondering if I can use my telepathy to try to read. I don't know if it's a bad situation, so maybe it doesn't fit here, but maybe it's investigate the mystery.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do an investigative mystery. Using your telepathy, you're kind of tapping in to see kind of what's in her brain space here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, let's do it. So for investigate a mystery, when you investigate a mystery, roll plus sharp. What is your sharp?
Sharp is 2.
Very nice. Plus 2. Wow. Damn. On a 10 plus, you help. On a 10 plus, you hold 2. On a 7 to 9, you hold 1. And there's a series of questions. We'll read off those questions here in a moment after you roll. So let's go ahead and do that. Investigate a mystery.
Okay.
Ooh, a 7. Okay. So on a 7, you get to hold 1. I'll read off the questions to you. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here?
I think the last one is the one I want to know. Basically, like, I want to know the unfiltered version of everything she's heard about it, not what she's subconsciously not wanting to share because it sounds crazy. He just wants to know what's being concealed about.
Yeah, so you can tell that you can sense from her with your telepathy that she's been ruminating on this whole forest coming alive thing. And she's been saying to everybody, including these kids, you guys are just high. This is silliness, but she's still ruminating on it. And what she seems to be thinking about is, like, could this be true? Because rumors are they're doing some crazy shit up at the biology lab at the college. And could that have something to do with it? No, it can't be. So you see her again, dismiss it as it rolls back into the back of her mind. All right. Let's cut back into the hallway where we've got our 2 hikers.
Who do we approach first? Who's in the first cell? Was it Doris?
Doris, yep.
I think I just stop at Doris and say, excuse me, ma'am, you must be Doris Webster.
She doesn't make eye contact. Yeah?
I'd like to ask some questions about what you encountered yesterday.
Let's go ahead and do an investigative mystery for you as well then, Van. Same thing. It's going to be plus sharp. On a 10 plus, you hold 2. On a 7 to 9, you hold 1. What is your sharp?
Not great. -1. I need to stop talking.
So on a 3, you get nothing but experience. So go ahead and mark yourself experience on a failed roll.
All right.
Declan and Adriel, she is not connecting with Van. She doesn't make eye contact with him. What Van's doing is not working. She is tight-lipped.
So Doris, was it?
Yeah.
You and your friend were hiking was it last night or was it tonight?
Last night.
Was last night. We're hiking last night, correct?
Yeah.
We believe you. Can you want to talk to us about what happened?
So she looks up at you and she goes, I mean, we were high, but not that high.
So again, we believe you. We are here to talk a little bit about what you saw and hopefully figure out what we can do about it.
All right, let's go ahead and have you investigate a mystery, Declan.
All right.
What is your sharp?
Probably 0. So
Okay.
It's neutral.
So it's just a straight roll? Much better. On an 8, you get to hold 1. So I'll read off the questions for you again real quick. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here?
I guess we kind of got to begin at the beginning here. So I'll ask what happened here.
She says, we were high, but we weren't that high. So a buddy of ours, he said that there's something in the forest that we need to check out. And that forest is like Shagarick Hollow. Like nobody goes in there. That place is creepy. It's always been creepy. But he kept going on and on saying, hey, this is going to be, what we need to do and blah, blah, blah. So just to humor him, and he gave us some weed. We said, okay, we'll go in there with you. And the 3 of us went in there, and he was being super weird, talking about how like communing with nature and things are happening here that he can hear. And he took all his clothes off, and he just like started running and told us to take our clothes off. And Nathan and I looked at each other, and next thing we know, we couldn't even see him. He was just gone. And we kind of stood there for a little while. And as we started to leave, it was like the forest floor came alive. There's like a moss that was covering the floor of this forest. And as we started to leave, it became harder to walk through this. And then eventually like a vine came up and grabbed Nathan. And as she's saying this, Nathan has now stood up and is kind of at the bars and listening to what she's saying, not saying anything. Like there's something messed up in that forest. And once we got to the edge of the forest, I was able to pull him free, and then we just went to the gas station, and that's when we got picked up.
So just give him a fact straight here. You're in the forest. There are actually 3 of you.
Yeah.
And your friend stripped butt naked and took off into the woods.
Yeah.
And as y'all were trying to leave, the forest came to life and a vine grabbed Nathan.
Yeah.
And then you were here. Well, then you ran
That's
to the
it.
gas station and you got picked up.
Yes.
Oh boy. Unks, any insights?
I look to Nathan and ask, do you have anything to add to that or want to clarify?
That's pretty much it. Like, can you guys get us out of here?
What was the experience of the vine? Was it strong? Was it constricting?
It was wicked strong. It was wicked strong. It wrapped around my leg. It kind of came out from the forest floor. At first I thought maybe I just tripped over it, but no, like the damn thing was alive.
I look at Dorothy. Well, how were you able to pull him free if it was so strong?
I don't know. I just started pulling on him and it just let go.
I look back to him. That's what it felt like. Is it just released you?
Yeah. She was yanking on me pretty good, and nothing was happening. Then all of a sudden, it just kind of let go. Super weird.
What was the relation to when it let go and you at the edge of the forest? Were you still in the forest, at the edge, out?
She kind of looks up to the right. You can see she's kind of trying to replay it in her mind. She's like, yeah, like when I was pulling on him at first and it wasn't working, I kind of like stepped back to get like better footing. And now that I think about it, my right foot was not touching the moss. And that's when I was able to yank him free.
It's a good detail to have. As far as getting y'all out of here, I don't know, but we'll see what we can do.
I walk back out as he's talking to him, and I survey the area to see if I could see the keys to these cells.
Yeah. It's hanging at the end of the hallway.
I will pick them up, and I will unlock their cells,
Okay.
and I will lead them out and put the key back, and just look at Declan and tell the two to come with me.
Declan Van.
You know the deputy's right there, right?
We're forestry. Who cares?
Okay, I want to argue with this, but I also don't know enough about what forestry does to say if that's a thing we're allowed to do or not. I'm not going to lie to you. So we're just going to play it cool and act like this is a thing that we are supposed to do and move on with our lives.
Yeah, Van knows his brother well enough that there's no changing his mind. You just go with it and do the best you can.
Yeah.
I turn to the two kids. Now, when we leave, you say absolutely nothing, and you get into the Forerunner. Do you understand?
And they both immediately stopped talking as soon as you said that, and they just both nod.
I'm going to grab one of them just by the arm, almost like we're escorting to they're not out of trouble, but we're taking them away from this. So we're show a little bit of authority.
Now do the same thing with the other, and let Adriel take up the rear.
I look to Declan and Van. Now, when we walk out, don't stop. Don't say anything. Just take them to the vehicle.
We know the drill.
So as you open the door to the hallway, getting back to the lobby of the sheriff's office, as soon as the five of you step into this lobby, you see that front door open. You can smell the smoke waft into the sheriff's office, and the deputy sheriff, she's standing there and she goes, "What the hell are you doing?"
These are now material witnesses. They are under our preview.
Adriel, what is your charm?
My charm is not good.
What is it?
Now, but I don't know if this will do anything, but
Let's hear it.
But I do have soothe. When I talk to someone for a few seconds in a quiet voice, I can calm them down, blocking any panic, anger, or other negative emotions they have. This works even if the thing that freaked them out is still present, as long as your voice can be heard.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So my theory is that her negative reaction is that we're taking them, but I'm like, in a calm, cool voice.
I like it. So so she says, "What the hell are you doing?"
These are now our material witnesses, and they are under our preview. They are no longer your worry or concern. Thank you very much, and we will make sure to give any credit where credit is due.
Okay. And she just walks back into the lobby, and the five of you leave. And you see Elias there leaning against the wall. Go ahead, Van.
Before she heads in, on my way out, I took two of her business cards off her counter, and I put my burner cell phone number and my title with the forestry on there, and I hand it to her as the whisper happens, and she goes away. So she has our contact info, and we have a secondary card for us.
Perfect. All right, so we've got the four of you plus our two new friends are outside. Oh my God! Thank you so much.
Quiet until we get in the vehicle.
So they get into the back of the Forerunner with you. Can I talk now?
Yes.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. Oh my God. I like you're not gonna call my parents, are you? This is Nathan.
No, but you're going to tell me everything you can about your friend that stripped and ran.
Jerry?
Yes.
Man, Jerry's kind of a weirdo. He doesn't think we landed on the moon. He thinks the Earth's flat.
I like him.
And he, just would not shut up about the damn forest, and
What was he
kinda-
saying about the forest?
he kind of looks to his left and his right like he wants to make sure that the coast is clear. He has really good weed. The forest. He just was saying that like he's been going there and just like communing with it, like talking to the forest. And he said like it's making him feel good, and I just thought he like found some really good weed or something, and he just wouldn't shut up about it. So Doris and I were kind of like needed to buy an ounce or two off him, and he said the only way that he would do that is if we came out to talk to the forest. And we're like, what the hell? And we did, and then things got pretty fucked up.
Did he run off before the floor of the forest changed?
Kind of, but what I can't tell is whether we just didn't notice it or if the floor changed. I'm not real sure, but yeah, like we were a good like 2.5-3 miles in to Shaggereg Hollow, and then he like turned to me and says, "Can you hear it?" And I'm like, "Dude, no, because we're sober, we can't hear shit." And then he just took all his clothes off, and just like started running.
2 to 3 miles in. What entry point and what direction were you hiking when this happened?
So he points up towards the university, and to the left of it, you can see the edge of this forest, the Shaggereg Hollow. He goes, "We just went in the main like area where the fence is. It's never locked or nothing, and we just went into the fence and just we're heading east."
And how would we find Jerry? I believe he said.
Yeah, I would assume he's back at the dorm at this point.
So he stays at the dorm.
Yeah.
Are you both university students as well?
Yeah. And you can't tell the chancellor or nothing about like we'll get bounced from this place.
You help us, we help you. Our lips are sealed.
So there's one thing you need to do for us. You need to bring Jerry out so we can speak to him.
Sure. Yeah, I got that. He's kind of sweet on Doris. Doris, do you think you could get him to come out? And she's like, yeah, for sure. I don't have to do nothing with him, do I? And Nathan says, no. Just get him to come out so we can talk to you guys were at forestry?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to drive us up to the dorms?
I look at Declan.
I'm on it. At that point, yeah, we'll drive up towards the university.
So it'll be a little crowded for all you in the Forerunner. So give me an idea of what we're doing here.
So I would say me, Declan, and the kids in the Forerunner. And then we got Van and Elias in the RV.
Yeah, we'll follow up. We'll caravan up there.
So you head down Main Street. There's signs everywhere to get to the University of the South. You follow those signs. As you're driving, it takes maybe about 2 or 3 minutes. Doris says, hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Yes.
What's the deal with the kid?
He's special needs.
Oh, so like a Make-A-Wish type thing, like to be with the forestry?
You could say that, yeah. Something like that.
So you pull up to the dorms. Doris goes, well, I'm just going to run in and get him to come out. That's what you wanted?
Yes,
What should I tell him?
Tell him you have a buyer.
Ooh, that'll definitely do it. So she goes into the dorm. It's going to take about 10 minutes before she comes out. I don't know if there's anything that the four of you want to do during that 10 minutes or if you just want to wait on her.
Is it too early to split the party, guys? You know,
It's never too early to split the party.
Gotcha. I think I'm going to make the proposal to Elias. Say, hey, should we go to the welcome center here at the campus and try to get some local lore and figure out what's going on here while they follow up on this lead?
Yes, I think we should. I think we should check into the biology department.
Let's find a map.
Easy enough. Campus map right there in the quad. You can see the biology building. So we'll have the two of you head to the biology building. I assume you'd let Declan and Adriel know.
Yes. Yeah.
So you get to the biology building. Front doors, and this now it's about 9 o'clock at night. Front door of the building is open. But you walk in. Huge foyer. The University of South, by the way, this is a real place. University of South is very Gothic, tries to look like an old Ivy League school, even though it was obviously built much later than the other Ivy League schools are. You can see a directory. You can see a hallway where you would assume there's lecture halls. Nobody's really there. It's 9 o'clock at night.
We hear any noises in the around the building in the hallways? Do we see any lights on? Any signs of anybody present?
Let's do another investigative mystery.
Shit. Elias, you should have asked.
Well, it doesn't have to be you. So it could be either you or Elias, and you can help each other. So if you want to be meta about it, take a look and see who's got the better sharp, and the other one can help.
I'm -1, so I'm more the helper, I think.
Yeah, I mean, either way is fine with me. I don't mind. I mean, we're investigating together, so
Yeah. So I'll try to roll help out with my cool. Oh no, it's saying
All right.
cool to help out. Oh, that's even better. Okay.
Yep. So let's go ahead and roll a help out. That's going to be plus cool. So as you guys are kind of poking around and looking around, Van, you mark experience, but
Silver lining.
why are you unhelpful?
I was driving all night.
You're
I'm
exhausted.
fatigued. Yeah.
Okay. So, Elias, you start looking around, poking around here, and you look over, and Van is laying down on one of the couches here in the lounge and just kind of dozing off.
Nice.
But I would like an investigative mystery from you, Elias.
yeah. I think that makes sense. And let's see.
All right. An 8, you're going to hold 1. So again, it's what happened here. What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here?
Okay, so I think what this looks like, I think Elias is going to kind of go down the halls towards like classrooms and labs and see if he can get himself into if any of them are unlocked, or just he's just poking around looking to see if there's anything weird going on in this like biology department, going off of that hunch that the sheriff's deputy had.
So which hole do you think you're focused on then?
Yeah, I think as he looks for things, I think he's just trying to figure out what sort of creature it is.
You get poking around. Yeah, you get poking around, and you end up finding the one door that's locked. And it's Dr. Cornwall, Cornwall, Dr. Cornwall's office. And Elias, with a little bit of help from the voice, you can turn that knob and break the lock if you'd like. I don't need a roll.
Okay.
So we just see Elias test it and then just go, and we hear the lock break as Elias turns it and you step into it. Poking around this office, you see paperwork for a grant, and it was a grant that was given to Dr. Cornwall about a year and a half ago. And the grant is titled Environmental Intelligence. And you look at the summary report and you can see that he is looking to do research on the connected nature of vegetation and how vegetation, with a little bit of experimentation and help, could possibly become hyper intelligent. And you also notice that he, like, half of this grant, where it would have like the methodology and how things were done, is missing.
Like the pages are missing, or he just didn't fill it out? Okay.
No, it's missing. So where he would normally have, like, you can tell, like, you go to, like, you're on page 10 and you can see the header for, proposed methodology, and there's no page 11.
Okay.
Let's cut back real quick to the dorms. Robert,
real quick on the vehicle, do they have the little switch for child safety locks in the rear?
Sure.
So while she's going up, I'm gonna click them on, so that way when he gets in, I can lock the doors and he can't get out.
Perfect. So you and Declan, Adriel, are waiting, and Doris comes out by herself. And she comes up and she knocks on the passenger window. He's not there, and I don't think he came home last night.
How easy would it be for us to get up to his room?
I can just take you up there if you want.
I look at Declan. Want to come?
Let's go.
I motion for the kid to get out the car.
All right. So you, Nathan, Doris, and Declan are going to head into Jerry's
Dorm room?
Yeah, I'm thinking here. So you head up, take the elevator, goes up there. She takes you to the room. You walk into his dorm. You see the bunk beds, which would give you the impression that he has a roommate, but very quickly Nathan explains that his roommate, like, asked to be transferred out, and he's been living by himself for the entire semester. All kinds of posters on the wall for The Truth Is Out There, and pictures of UFOs, and you look at Charity to the Gods is on his bookshelf. It looks like Jerry's into a whole lot of things. But if we want to do some more poking around here, Adriel, I'm going to have you give me a investigative mystery. Same thing for you and Declan. Let's figure out what makes the most sense. Who should do the investigate and who should do the help?
My sharp is 0.
As is mine. My cool is also 0. I'm 0 on everything but tough and weird. So I can help.
My cool is 1.
So maybe you help Declan?
Right.
All right. So let's do a help out, which is plus cool.
Okay.
Ooh, very nice. A 12 on a 10 plus. Your help grants them a +1 to the roll. So Declan, as you do investigate a mystery, you'll have the option to do a +1.
All right.
Let's do that.
So I'll go ahead and roll that. And is that the plus minus forward?
Correct. Yeah, you'll do a +1.
Do the +1 to that. Boom.
Ooh, very nice. I got you up to your 10.
Yes.
So that's going to allow you to hold 2. So if you have the list of questions in front of you, I'm going to quickly read it for everybody. But you can ask 2 of these questions. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here? What is your first question?
I would say what is being concealed here should definitely be one of them. Any leads or anything him connecting to the forest or, things that he's encountered.
Yeah, so I think the two that I want to ask here, definitely what's being concealed here. And I think that the one that makes the most sense for what we're looking at and might be able to find in his dorm room is what was it going to do?
Okay. So let's start with what's being concealed here. You kind of toss his room. Just real quick, are we being tidy about this, or is Jerry going to come back to his room was tossed?
It's
Based
already
on
a
what we heard
mess,
about
right?
him, yeah, I would say based on what we heard about him, it's not going to be much worse than when he left it.
Okay. He won't even be able to tell.
He's a stoner with an X-Files poster. It's going to look essentially the same.
Okay, that's fair.
Declan, we're right here, buddy.
That's fair. So I think, Declan, the first thing for what is being concealed here, you find his class schedule.
Okay.
And you notice that the current semester is all biology classes, right? And he has been studying with Dr. Cornwall. He just has been taking, it looks like every course that Cornwall lectures on, he's been taking that. And that stands out. Now, you are not in the biology lab, so you don't know what Elias has discovered, but it is just odd because you look at his previous semester and it was, several different courses. But this semester, he's enrolled in only lectures with Dr. Cornwall.
Van and Elias did communicate to us they were going to the biology department.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
And then what's the other question?
The other question was, what was it going to do?
What was it going to do? Okay. Let's have you find his diary.
Your diary. Today I'm
the beginning parts of the diary are kind of what you expected based off of what you've heard about Jerry and what you see in this room.
Yeah, when does it get to the Resident Evil itchy tasty?
But as you flip through the diary and you get to like entries in the last maybe month and a half, it's all focused on Shagarake Hollow. And you see him saying things like, I think Dr. Cornwall is right. I believe that the forest is coming alive. I think what Cornwall did worked. And then he starts like falling into like, this isn't just a higher intelligence. This is a god. And it speaks to me when I'm there and I'm going to commune with it. And the last entry is, it told me to bring my friends. This is his last entry.
Have a look. Take a look at this. Start here and read to the end. And I'll turn to Nathan or Doris. Either one can answer this. What was Jerry's major?
History.
While we were tossing the place, did we come across any drugs?
Yeah, definitely.
I confiscate all of it.
Okay. Doris goes, we can help you carry that if you want.
Oh, I have it. Thank you.
Smoke on my weed. I won't say kind of under my breath to Adriel. But so he's studying history. His current semester, he was taking all biology classes, all with the same guy. Do y'all know what Dr. Cornwall is? Cornwall.
Nah, man, I'm a psych major. And Doris is like, I'm sociology. So I don't know anything about
These
biology.
are advanced courses. What year are y'all in?
It feels like Jerry's been here a long time. Not real sure here. I mean, he's older than us. We're sophomores.
Okay. Sit tight. I need to step outside and make a phone call. And as I'll leave Adriel with the confiscated weed and with the diary, and I will contact. I'll actually call Van.
Okay. Van, your burner phone buzzes. you look down at that cracked screen, and we know that it showed Bingo when Bingo called. What does it show when Declan calls you? How do you have Declan in your phone?
Just D. The letter D.
All right, it's buzzing.
Yeah. Answer it. Declan, what's up?
Did y'all make it to the biology lab?
We did. Where we actually came across a Dr. Cornwall's office that had some interesting items in it.
Interesting. How?
Well, there was a grant that he was given or was proposing for about environmental intelligence, and there's some missing pages about the methodology of how this works and how to enhance what sounds like enhancing the intelligence of microorganisms and plant life. It's interesting stuff. I was going to bring it to you guys here shortly.
All right, so check this out. We found Jerry's dorm room. Jerry's not in it. But we found a couple things that we're going to bring with us, including his class schedule, which is exclusively biology classes with a Dr. Cornwall, which wouldn't be so weird if Jerry weren't a history major.
Ooh, interesting.
Rendezvous 15 at the RV?
Yes, absolutely. We're en route.
Out.
All right. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break. And when we come back, we'll bring the four of you together and figure out what our next move is.
Real quick.
We'll be right back.
Are there?
Yep.
That's okay. We can do it on break.
Okay. right, so the four of you reconvene back at the RV, which is parked in front of the dorms. Are we keeping Nathan and Doris around? Are we letting them run? You wanted to do something, Adriel. What do you want to do?
Yeah. So on the way out, I say, I need to use the restroom and I want to go into the bathroom. Do they have like a bathtub or a shower type
Showers.
of thing? Shower. I throw the weed into the shower. And I reach into my inner breast pocket and I pull out a hilt. And then all of a sudden this flaming blade comes out and I just touch to it and incinerate it. Blade goes back in. Flush the toilet and then walk out.
Okay.
That's one way to hotbox the bathroom.
So it incinerated it. There's no smoke, no nothing. Just incinerated it.
Oh, so not a normal burn here, huh? So okay.
Holy fire.
I was imagining a Cheech and Chong movie when that door opened.
Especially Declan, like,
All right. So let's cut to. What are we doing with Nathan and Doris? Are we keeping them with you, letting them run?
Yeah, I look at Declan. I have nothing for them.
all right, Nathan, Doris, you've been extremely helpful. You're free to go.
You sure we can't help you? Like that was a lot of weed.
What weed?
They go off. All right. So we're in the parking lot of the dorms at the RV. The four of you are all there.
So apparently,
Jerry.
Jerry has associated with this professor. Maybe we should try to locate him.
Do we know anything about the professor, like first name, gender, or anything, or we just know Dr. Cornwall? You saying that made me realize, like, do we know anything about this professor? Like, how would we find them?
What do we call bingo?
Yeah, I think there was. I think Elias does, because there's plaques with his degrees and stuff that was on the wall in his office. So it's Dr. Davis Cornwall. Based on pictures that you saw, Elias seems to be an older guy, maybe in his late 50s, early 60s. Pretty nondescript, very professorial looking.
Yeah. I mean, I'll share any of that information with them, of course. But yeah, I think we need to speak to him. I think he seems to be at the center of this.
So looking at, and I will share Jerry's current semester schedule as well. Is there anything, other than the fact they're all taught by Dr. Cornwall, is there anything about the classes that stands out? Like what in particular he's taken? Just a bunch of biology classes at Cornwall?
Yeah, just a bunch of, and I think you guys would kind of know this, like, you know, it looks like he's taking all of them, right? So he's like enrolled in, like when you think about a course load that a professor would have, this is probably every class that he's teaching this year or this semester. So yeah, they're not super connected. Some is like biology 101, you know, plants and blah, 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 you know, just a whole series, but there doesn't seem to be a red yarn that connects these classes. Now, one thing I am going to do, I'm going to move our clock down. We are now in shadows. So what that means is it's kind of like a doom clock in other games. Something has happened, and I'm moving the clock forward. And if we get as progressively, things are going to get worse and worse. And this is just a function of time. This is kind of to make sure that we are moving quickly. And you may know immediately what happens when I move that down, or like in this case, it's happening off screen.
Okay, so we have all this, and I think I should share here that when we first got here, a meter maid slipped me her phone number, and the note says that the university is the key. What I don't know is if we found that key yet, or if there's still more digging that we need to be doing here. But I do know that the next piece of this puzzle is to find either Jerry or this Davis Cornwall.
I
Take a walk in the woods.
I look at the book and I read the part about it talking to him and referencing, I believe it said an entity was talking to him.
Yeah, he seems to be under the impression in the diary that, I think, and it progresses, right? So it starts off with, the stuff that Cornwall is talking about, is super interesting to, I think he's right. I do think there's a connected intelligence that's out there with the right experimentation. And then he's like, I think he was successful. Because like when I go into Shagarite Hollow now, I can hear it and it talks to me. And then towards the final entries, he seems to think it's not like an intelligence. He thinks it's like some sort of god that, that is speaking to him. And then the last entry is that the forest told me to bring friends.
Well, sometimes the most direct route is the best route. Why don't we just burn the forest?
I'm sorry. Did you say burn the forest?
Yes.
Like the whole thing, Unc?
Well, start at the place where it said he went to.
So just
Okay,
for context, it's like probably about 7 miles by 7 miles. It's a large national forest.
Well,
So
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying no.
I don't expect it to spread all the way out, but obviously this hollow
Yeah,
seems
this
to be a focal
area. I hear what you're saying.
Let's not jump to drastic measures.
Let's keep that in the back pocket and see what we can do first.
Adriel taking it to 11.
Is that the break glass in emergency situation? I'm not against it.
Let's think about a lot of your ideas is that I think it would work, but I feel like there's a couple steps we could take beforehand.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we have
When Elias thinks
Cornwall's-
that's too far?
Do we have Cornwall's address written down somewhere in the documents?
Phone book. Phone books were still a thing in 2005.
Yep.
I'll go to the phone booth next to the parking lot.
Yep.
Thumb through it. Is there an address there?
Yep. Downtown. He lives downtown in a house a couple blocks from the sheriff's office.
Guys, I think we need to go to his office, see if we can't get anything out of him or if we can find any more information about this research and potentially these missing pages on the methodology.
So just to be clear, did you read that aloud, that stuff from the diary?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from a GM perspective, just so you guys know, I'm always going to assume you guys are sharing all information. So we don't have to go through those motions unless there's something specific that you don't want to share.
Right.
So make that clear. But otherwise, once you guys all get together, I'm assuming all knowledge is exchanged.
Then I look at Elias. So do you have any insight to this possibly?
No, but I want to go speak to it.
Let's speak to Dr. Cornwall first. Well, let's try.
So let's
all
cut.
load up into.
It's like I'm actually like encouraging splitting the party again, but he will not go alone if no one wants to go with him.
I think we should. I will be more than happy to go with you.
So if I'm hearing this, Adriel and Elias are going to head into the Shagarite Hollow, and it sounds like Declan and Van are going to go to Cornwall's place.
And what time of the day is it right now?
It's about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
I think we should stop at a gas station on our way there first.
You guys should probably take the Forerunner. Declan and I will take the base.
Sorry, I thought there was like kind of an entrance right near the college that they walked.
There is.
They hiked in from.
Yeah, it's just on the edge of campus if you just want to walk there.
Oh, that's right. We're already at the campus. Yeah, that's right.
We're going to get these cars off campus. We'll get a parking ticket.
Declan, give them the keys just in case if they have to make it out in haste with the quickness, right? Last thing they need to be is fumbling around, not having keys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think Declan and Van, you guys can take the Forerunner and head over to Cornwall's house. And then Adriel and Elias, you can just walk to Shagarite Hollow if you want.
I think we want to leave the forerunner in case we got to beat feet. That's easier to maneuver
Yes,
than
he's
an
got it than
RV.
the RV. So
Right.
Van and I will
Perfect.
take the RV to Dr. Cornwall's house, and we'll leave them with the keys to the keys to the truck.
Excellent. But Adriel, do you still want to go to a gas station before you guys head into the forest?
What I would like to do is get some gas containers and fill them up.
So I think you have a gas container in that RV.
Okay.
Yeah, with some, just some backup gas in there.
Okay. I'll make sure to keep that. And I'll leave it in the, as we walk out through the gate or whatever to the forest, I'll kind of camouflage it off to the side so I don't have to run all the way back to the vehicle if necessary.
Perfect. Yeah, we can leave it right on the inside of the gate. All right. So you guys head towards Shagrag Hollow. You can see that there is a fence that separates the campus from this forest. And as was mentioned, there's a huge gate there, and kind of like a hiking trail plaque there showing you the trails that you can go through to hike the forest itself. And you are able to hide, Adriel, the gas container. And the two of you start to walk in. It gets real dark real fast. And you are noticing on the trees and on the ground, Elias and Adriel, this green, almost bioluminescent moss. And as you get deeper into this forest, you're seeing more and more of the moss on the ground and on the trees. Let's cut to Cornwall's house. The two of you pull up to Cornwall's. There are no lights on in the house.
Let's try to ring the doorbell, like business as usual. Thumb through my. No, we still have our forestry IDs. Let's
Okay.
get those going.
No answer.
Care to I'll take the left side? I'll take the right side. Go around the back.
Yep.
All right.
So it's a modest house. It's got a little backyard. You guys end up meeting there at the backyard. Nothing really to see. All of the windows, the shades are closed. There doesn't appear to be any lights on. You guys get to the back. There's like a little back porch there.
Was there a car parked outside?
There is not a car. Or actually, yes, there is a car parked in the just in front of the garage.
Okay.
Van's going to check the back door, sliding door, whatever's there, and potentially windows to see if there's anything unlocked.
Let's read a bad situation. The two of you are together. Bad situation uses sharp. Again, you guys can help each other, figure out who has the best sharp to read the bad situation.
I would like to help Declan with sharp because I'm -1 on that.
Give him -1 to sharp. Okay, I'm neutral on sharp. So
Okay.
All right,
Is
so
it
let's
okay
do
if
the
I
help out first. Yep.
Oh, finally. 5-hour energy.
Ooh, very nice. I thought you were going to level up here in the first half of the mystery, the way you've been rolling. All right, so you get straight up, give it a +1 to Declan. So Declan, let's go ahead and read a bad situation. When you look around and read a bad situation, you roll plus sharp. And what is your sharp? 0?
yeah.
All right.
All right, and I get to add 1 to that.
Yep, you got a +1 from Van helping you out. Very nice.
9, so not bad.
So on a read a bad situation, on a 10+, you hold 3. On a 7 to 9, you hold 1. Here are your options. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims? You get 1.
Gonna let's see if there's this place just looks so nondescript, it's throwing me a little bit. So I'm gonna see if there's any dangers we have not noticed.
Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? As you're kind of looking around, I think when you went to go see if the car was here, the garage door was open. And I think in the back of the garage, you find several pots, like planting plots, full of this bioluminescent moss.
And I will take a few steps back from that. Hey, Unc,
Yeah.
you know much about gardening?
Oh shit. So I immediately walk over.
You ever
Declan.
seen moss that glows in the dark? I'll point the bioluminescent green moss that is now several feet away from me because I'm not,
Okay.
Right.
not sticking my head over it or anything.
I grab his shirt just a little bit and try to pull him back a little bit and say, we need to keep our distance from this thing. We don't know what we're dealing with. This could be bad. Is there a gas can in this garage?
Sure.
Perfect. All right. It's mentally noted.
It's like Delta Green here.
Yeah. It's like, all right, that thing's not going anywhere, but we need to handle that. Let's check the house first before we cause a commotion on that thing, because I think you know where I'm getting with it.
Yeah.
Let's cut to Adriel and Elias. You guys are noticing this moss is becoming more widespread as you get deeper.
So if I may, just because I think it'd be an interesting cut, like in a TV scene, like it cuts from them kind of like backing away cautiously. And when it cuts back to us, Elias is like kind of like nonchalantly, like almost half like skipping through the forest and like running his hand along the moss that's growing on the trees. And like, ultimately what I'd like to do is I'd like to use magic.
Ooh, beautiful. Let's do that. So, real quick, because it's the first time we've done it, when you use magic, say what you're trying to achieve and how you will do the spell, then roll plus weird. So you'll want to pick an effect, and there's a list of effects. I'm not going to read them off. What effect are you looking for here, Elias?
I'd like to communicate with something you do not share a language with.
Communicate with something you do not share a language with. Perfect. Let's roll plus weird.
Okay.
All right. On a 7 to 9, it works imperfectly. Choose your effect and a glitch. So the effect is communicate with something that you do not share a language with, and the list of glitches you can choose from is the effect is weakened. The effect is of short duration. You take 1 harm, ignoring armor. The magic draws immediately unwelcome attention, and it has a problematic side effect. What is your
Oh
glitch?
man, those are all the best answer. But I think the magic draws immediate unwelcome attention.
All right, so set the scene for me, Elias. This is now question: has Adriel seen you use magic before?
Yes, he saw me use it on someone for selfish reasons.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's one of your bonds. So for us, your GM and the people watching, this is the first time we've seen Elias use magic. So what does that look like?
It's almost like a channeling. It's probably more closer to like sorcery or something. There's like this burning in his eyes that intensifies as he focuses on his magic, depending on what he's doing. In this case, you can almost see a mirrored glow from where he's touching the moss with his hand, like coming from him, glowing back down, maybe in a slightly different color, back towards the moss. And he's just kind of like walking along, running his hand through and along everything, trying to communicate with this entity.
So your hand starts to tingle when you realize that it's starting to work. And though the moss isn't literally spreading up your arm, you feel its presence go up your arm into your mind, which is already crowded.
Mhm.
And you can just sense this. You don't hear this the same way that you hear our friend that's up there, but you just sense this feeling of it's saying hello.
Is it calming
Yeah.
or is it creepy?
Both.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem aggressive. You don't feel threatened. But I think the reason it's creepy is because it's the way it's communicating. It's communicating just so viscerally, not with a voice, just a knowledge that you're given.
Mhm. So I think I speak back to it and I say, hello. Where did you come from?
I've always been here.
I've heard that before. Always been here in this forest?
Yes, here too.
What
Are
is
you
it
going to
that you
join
want?
me?
Not today. What is it that you want?
Everything.
I've heard that before too.
Adriel, as you're watching Elias do this, you catch out of the corner of your eye some movement. And you look over and you can see what looks like a shadow or a form or something that's just out of visual range, but it looks like a child is watching you. Somebody about Elias's size. But it's too dark to really get a sense of who that is or what they look like.
I pull out my sword hilt, ignite the flaming blade to cast light so I can get a better look.
So you look, and it looks like a child is covered in this moss. And the moss just goes directly, like where the legs are, just kind of just forms into the ground where there's moss there. And it's starting to move closer to you, but slowly.
Do I get a feeling of danger, or should I do like a read a bad situation?
Let's read a bad situation. All right. So reading a bad situation, that's going to be rolling with sharp. What's your
Yep.
sharp?
My sharp is 0.
All right. Let's give it a roll. All right. On a 9, 7 to 9, you get to hold 1. What on that list do you want?
I guess what's the biggest threat, or are there any changes haven't noticed yet? I'm trying to pick up on this thing as if it's hostile, evil, ill intent,
Okay.
something along those lines.
So which one you picking?
What's the biggest threat?
The biggest threat is this moss child. And I think it's not just the one, because you're quickly realizing there's like 3 of them. Elias, I think you can have one more exchange with this moss. Do you have one more thing you want to say or ask it?
Yes, I think I do. So I'm getting the feeling that it is an entity, right?
Yeah, and because I think because of who you are,
Yeah.
you can tell it's not necessarily supernatural. It's more science, right? So it's definitely like a collected consciousness. Like this thing is conscious and it's thinking. But it's not a situation where it seems possessed or anything that you're connected with.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel
Not familiar with
supernatural.
that at all. More like a hive mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to try to manipulate it and ask it what it would take to let anyone, Jerry and anyone else go.
Beautiful. Let's do it. Let's manipulate someone.
I'm really bad at manipulation, but I want to do it anyway.
What's your charm?
-1.
Okay.
I guess it could be worse.
It could be.
Can we use luck if we fail? Isn't there a luck?
There is a luck mechanic.
If we
Yep,
want
you
to
could,
go down that route.
yeah, with luck, after you roll, you can spend a luck and immediately basically force a result of 12 on the roll you just had. Keep in mind, though, I think you have 7 luck or 10 luck? I can't remember.
I think it's 7. And
So
then,
you have luck. Once you are out of luck, I basically, as the GM, have full permission to beat the shit out of you, because you're out of luck. So could very quickly lead to the end of your you as a character.
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah,
And it doesn't reset. There's ways to regain luck depending on your playbook and your advancements, but
I don't think it's. I think it's a little bit different. No, it is. It's just doomed. Is the other end of the luck track once you.
Yeah, doomed basically. And what I do is I just keep making things worse and worse and worse for you as a character.
And each time we use a luck, it triggers our luck special, which gives him more slightly nastier things he can do too.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Manipulate someone.
Manipulate.
All right. So on a 7, it's going to do it, but only if you do something for them right now. So what are you asking it? What are you trying to manipulate it to do?
I'm trying to manipulate it to let go of whatever hold it has over the humans. Any humans. Like the only one I'm aware of, I think, is Jerry. But if there are any others, like those two.
And what are you going to do to show it that you mean it?
So kind of where I want to go with it is I want to promise, and I don't know if a promise is enough, but that I won't let Adriel burn down the whole forest.
Ooh, I think that's pretty compelling. That's very compelling. You sense these words. I know this, Jerry. Let me bring him here.
Okay.
And you sense movement in this moss, but it's like below the surface. And as you feel yourself losing contact, as your magic wears off, the moss separates at your feet. And exposes, or maybe brought, the bones of a man probably in his early 20s. Let's cut to Cornwalls. All right, so we've found some moss in the back. We're keeping our distance from it. Based on what we all know is happening with Elias and Adriel, that might be a good idea. What are we doing next?
Declan, I want to break into this house and see if there's any records, if there's those missing pages, so we can figure out what we're dealing with. I don't sense anybody around here. Thoughts?
Front door or back?
Back door first. Let's try that.
Sounds good. See, we'll head around to the back door and check in general if it's locked. I don't know if we checked that before.
All the doors are locked. Yep. Yep. And this is going to be an act under pressure, which is plus cool. Same situation. One of you can do it and the other one can help.
I've got a 1 on cool, so I'm pretty cool.
I'm neutral and cool, so I will help out.
Cool.
Cool. Cool. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Cool, 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 cool. Can't even see my other die. Not quite.
Not quite.
But
So
that experience.
All right. So 6, yeah, mark yourself experience. Yeah, all the doors are locked. I mean, obviously you can get in here, but it's going to be a breaking and entering type situation.
okay. There we go. Act under pressure.
Ooh, a 10. All right. You get what you set out to do. You're at the back door, Van. Declan's walking away saying, hey, it's locked, right? Lift up the mat. There's a key.
Declan, I found something. Come on. And I'm just unlocking it like I own the place.
As I walk up to him, there was a key under the mat again, wasn't there?
Yeah. First rule
Every
before
damn
lockpicking. Check to see if it's unlocked and check to see if there's a key. Yep. So
you unlock it and you step in. Pretty nice home as you're kind of walking through the first floor of this home. It's hard to tell, but like, it looks like it hasn't been kept, right? So this guy's a slob. You see a lot of like pizza boxes, those Chinese containers for Chinese takeout, flies flying around the sink where all these dirty dishes are. And you go into what you can only presume is his study. It's got a desk, no books in the bookshelves, but you see a huge map that's been put onto the bookshelves, like literally like taped. And it's covering the whole wall of bookshelves where the books used to be. And it's a map of Shagarag Hollow. You can see the university. You can see the gate where you're assuming Elias and Adriel have entered. And in the center of this forest, he's taken a red marker and circled it. And you get closer and you can see a building there. And under it, it says research facility. Let's cut to Elias and Adriel. All right. So Elias, you've had this conversation. Adriel, you've got 3 of these moss children coming in closer to you.
Well, I think it's about time to kick some ass.
All right. We're going to go after these kids. So let's do kick some ass. When you get into a fight and kick some ass, you roll plus tough. On a 7+, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. The amount of harm is based on the established dangers in the game. That usually means you inflict the harm rating of your weapon and your enemy inflicts the attack's harm rating on you. On a 10+, you can choose an extra effect. So let's see what we have here, Adriel.
Are we using advanced? We're on the 12 bucks.
No, that happens once you have, I think it's after 5 advancements, you then can buy the advanced versions of these moves.
Correct.
Okay, I didn't see that on the list. Okay. So my flaming sword is fire and holy. So I don't know if that will have any extra effect.
We'll have to see. Let's see what your kick some ass roll looks like.
All right, so no forwards.
Nope.
8.
All right, so on an 8. So what is what's the harm that the sword inflicts?
Base of 3.
Very nice. What is you attacking this moss children look like?
I would say, since it's moss, when the blade touches it, it ignites it, whether it's briefly or continuous. depending on the
You-
moss.
So it sounds to me like you're running towards this sword and then just
I
striking
see
it.
Yeah, I come up and I just do a two-handed strike.
And the blade comes down and it hits this child made of moss, and you just see it immediately ignite and start on fire. But you also see at the edges, it seems to be like reclaiming the burnt areas. That's becoming green again. So it looks like you've hurt it. You've done 3 harm to it, but it looks like it's not enough to vanquish this child. At the same time, it extends its hand, and from out of its hand, these vines come out and they wrap around your torso. I need you to take 2 harm. Do you have any armor?
I have divine armor, 1 armor holy.
Perfect. Yeah. So just take 1 harm. Elias.
Yeah. So I think this was all kind of happening a little bit outside of his perception because he was focused on the conversation and then the appearance of Jerry's bones. And I think he turns to see, the slashing of the sword and this little scuffle, and he says, "Adriel, we need to get out of here. We need to come back more prepared." And I think I'm going to try to cut the vines loose.
You want to do an act under pressure?
Probably. I don't think it's defend someone or protect someone in this case.
No, the harm's already been inflicted here. You could protect. I think if you were going to continue here, you could do that. If assuming Adriel's going to do another kick some ass. So I don't know. Adriel, Elias is telling you
to go. So yeah, I'm going to act under pressure, try to get the vines cut free. I have a big knife.
Beautiful. Let's do an act under pressure plus cool.
Also, I don't know if it matters, but myself or my weapon has smite, so non-unique weaknesses are ignored.
Nice.
But unique weaknesses aren't.
All right. Let's see. Another 7.
You got a 7. So act under pressure with a 7 and 9. The keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay.
All right,
yeah, I think it's going to do 1 harm to you. So you're definitely going to cut these vines, but in the process, these vines are going to do some damage to you as well. Maybe grab your arm right before you sever it and go ahead and take 1 harm for me, if you would, Elias.
Got it.
Adriel, you're free.
All right, I kick some ass.
Let's do it. All right, on a 7, another exchange of harm. This smites and takes out the 1 moss child. So when you come down that second time, the whole thing burns up and it's reclaimed back into the moss itself. In that process, also doing another harm to you. So you're now at 2 harm. Let's cut back to Cornwalls.
Based on what I'm seeing, I imagine we're both in the same room looking at this map going, we got to tell the guys immediately. Declan, do you want to call Adriel and Elias? And I'm thinking about reaching out to Bingo to start researching a few things on this whole situation.
Very, very cool. So you'll call Bingo. Declan, you're going to call
Adriel. Try to get Adriel
Adriel.
on.
So Adriel, you're smiting down and fighting this thing. Elias is breaking the vines. You're free right now, and you feel your cell phone ring in your pocket.
It goes to voicemail because I'm busy.
Okay. I figured that was the case. Your phone, you hear the ring, you put in Bingo's number. Hey baby, how you doing?
Bingo, it's great to talk to you. I need a quick favor, and I promise I will send you the usual to your anonymous PO box as a thank you. But I'm kind of in need right now. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, of course, baby. But and that's fine, sweetie. But can you just make sure you get the focus a little bit better when you're taking those pictures?
You're on speakerphone. But bingo. Yes, I will, sweetie. But here's the deal: we're dealing with this situation with bioluminescent moss. That
I knew it.
Yeah, there's something going on, but I need some help trying to figure out what eats moss, what can kill it, what can help us deter this thing. I don't know what we're going to encounter when we start facing this stuff, but it's pretty trippy.
All right, this is definitely an investigative mystery. So let's go ahead and roll plus sharp.
Shit, why am I the one calling bingo again?
Because she likes you.
She's a little sweet on you, man.
If Declan holds the camera, can he help?
Lines and veils. All right, a 4. How many experience points do you have now, man?
I'm at 3.
Yeah,
5. Yeah, I'm getting close. We'll see if I can.
She comes back and she goes, "Baby, I tell you, I mean, I got stuff about like pesticides and how to kill moss, but nothing on anything about a bioluminescent moss. I'm not finding anything, sweetie."
All right, I appreciate it, and I'll make sure the focus is set a little bit different for you next time. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Big smoochy sound. You be safe now.
I kind of do this because shit.
All right.
Yeah, so after that, I let Declan know what's up. Let's get this map off this wall, and we'll take it with us. And I think we need to go figure out what's going on here, and we need to go handle what's out there in the garage potentially.
So before I cut back into the forest with Adriel and Elias, I need to know something. Declan's calling Adriel, and it goes to voicemail. And I have to hear in Adriel's voice what the voicemail message is.
Nothing. It's just a beep.
Do we leave a message, Declan?
Really? Now. It's your nephew. Call me back. Click.
All right, come back to the forest. Elias is breaking you free. Adriel, you've stricken one of these moss children. You see 2 more coming towards you. You see a 3rd one growing and rising out.
I look at Elias and nod and retreat.
All right. Let's read a bad situation. Who wants to do it and who wants to help? It's going to be a plus sharp.
I have a 0 sharp.
I have 2.
I can help.
You sure can. So let's do that help out. And then we'll let Elias read a bad situation.
Or not.
Go ahead and mark experience for me, if you would, Adriel. I think you're like too distracted. I think that you're on guard duty. So I don't know if you can really read this situation other than you've got these moss children getting closer and closer to you. So Elias, you want to read that situation for me?
Yep. Good at partial successes tonight.
I know. All right. On a 9, you get to, where's my bad situation? You get to hold 1. Which one do you want?
What's our best way out?
Pretty much a straight line back in. And you get a sense, Elias, as long as you keep moving, you'll probably be able to get out of here and stay ahead of the moss children. And, I think if you're fast and you don't stall, the 2 of you can get the hell out of here.
Okay. So I just turn and I say, run.
While I'm running, can I do a use magic?
Talk to me.
I want to heal myself.
Ah, very nice. This is a, let me go to the use magic. Is this a regular use magic or is this a special move that you've got?
Regular, because I think we determined lay on hands I could not do on myself. Correct.
Yep. All right. Heal 1 harm from an injury or cure a disease or neutralize poison. Beautiful. Let's do it. Let's do a use magic. So that's going to be plus weird. All right. Let's go ahead and mark experience. What does it look like and why doesn't it work?
Because we're running, trying to avoid vines and things, it just breaks my concentration. And I think that I need to make a move. I think I need to do a act under pressure, or if not, I either trip or stumble. Or is that just something that we would just choose as a glitch? Problematic side effect?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. It just doesn't work. I'm good with it. Just doesn't work.
Okay.
All right. So the two of you are going to get out of Shagarag Hollows. Declan and Van, where are you going? You've got the map.
Got the map. On our way out to the garage, we've got the gasoline. Is there any pesticide, any bug killer, any weed killer?
There's a like several containers of weed killer.
I'm going to grab one of those and try. If it's a pump spray, I'm going to spray as far as possible and see what happens.
It turns brown, then black. You could swear it screamed.
Look at Declan like we often look at in shock, where we're speechless, just jaw dropped. Grab it. Let's go. And so we grab that, jump in our hoopty, and head back to the college. I imagine, unless Declan, you got something else you want to?
Hell no, let's go.
Let's do it. All right. Cool.
All right. And Adriel and Elias, is everybody reconvening back here at the dorm parking lot again? Was that kind of the plan?
Yeah, once we get there, if I can, I'd like to try to use magic again to heal.
God, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to let you. I think you tried it once and you failed. If you take some more harm, I'll let you. But yeah.
Okay, I just figured now that we're kind of safe and calm.
Yeah, no, it's a one and done, I think, for your current harm level. All right. So the four of you are going to reconvene. It is now easily like 1 a.m. We'll have you guys get to that spot at the same time. There's a lot of information to exchange. Elias and Adriel, you have learned a lot about this moss because you faced against it. You have a much greater sense of what dangers lurk in Shagarag Hollow. It looks like maybe Van and Declan have some important information as well, both on what could potentially affect this moss, as well as this research facility that's somewhere in the center. I'm super excited to find out what's going to happen. We're going to run to credits, and then we're going to find out in episode 2 what the plan is going to be. We'll be right back. We'll talk about what happened. So Derek being awesome reminds me that I have been too nice to you guys on these misses. I should be doing some GM hard moves, so we can look forward to that starting in episode 2. This is actually my first time running a PBTA game. It's cool. Very, very cool. All right, so let's go through some end of session stuff real quick. First off, the end of session questions. There's 4 of them. If we can answer yes to 2 of them, everybody gets an experience point. So did we conclude the current mystery? No. Did we save someone from certain death or worse? I don't think so, because what we have is a dead Jerry. Did we learn something new and important about the world? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, this idea that whatever Cornwall did has created this collective intelligent moss. So that's a yes. And did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters?
I don't know. I don't know that we've done that yet.
New or important?
Doesn't feel like it to me, but I'm open to someone making the case.
What about the conversation with Adriel and Declan at the beginning talking about Elias? I mean, it's, I guess, not new to our session 0, but new in the story.
I don't think it's new. I think I get the feeling that Adriel and Declan have had more than a few conversations about Elias.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah, I don't.
I would posit that this is probably not the first time this exact conversation has happened between Declan and Adriel. Adriel's like, we should kill him, and I'm like, the answer is still no.
All right. So you guys are using the Always on the Road team playbook, and the team playbook question is did we talk about or pointedly not talk about something that was troubling a team member? I think we did do that at the very beginning.
Absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Yep. So somebody wants to open up our Remington team playbook there and give yourself an experience point there. Look over your story beats. Let me know if any of those story beats happened. I don't believe so. But if they did, bring it up. But let's go ahead and go to Stars and Wishes. I want to start with you, Derek. You have run this game a lot. So I'd like to get a sense of your thoughts, Stars and Wishes.
Let's see. On the spot. You put me on the spot right off the top.
Yeah, right on the spot. So let me, for those, and I should explain this because I'm there's a lot of new people that are watching. We do this at the end of every session on Third Floor Wars. It's an extension of Stars and Wishes, which I picked up from the Gauntlet podcast and the Gauntlet group. Jason Cordova's collective there. Stars is, what is a moment that really sticks out to you? And the way I explain it is, if someone tomorrow were to say, hey, Derek, I heard you play Monster of the Week yesterday. How was it? What would you tell them about? Like, what was a star moment or moments, or maybe a star thing that one of the fellow players did? Wishes is something that you're hoping will happen, or something that has happened that you want more of. And then thoughts, which I like to do first, is thoughts about the game, about the system, more the mechanics of the game itself. So let's start with thoughts.
Okay, just to clarify, Stars and Wishes, we're thinking more narratively, like in the story, what we liked and what we'd like to see.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and essentially, the reason I like to do Stars and Wishes is it's informing me what's working for you, right?
Sure.
So that I, as a GM, can adjust as we go forward.
So thoughts from a game perspective, I really like how well the game can handle splitting the party. Some games don't handle that very well. It does still require some, scene management and, cutting back and forth. But I there was never a moment where I wasn't in a scene and I wasn't interested in seeing what was happening with everyone else. So hopefully that's true for everyone. And I think it was really neat how we kind of paired up two different ways to see different character dynamics, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other ones too.
Yep.
So I just think that's really cool, and I do like the character focus and just we're learning about these characters while they deal with these things that are happening in the world, and trying to help, trying to do their thing. The stars, I think, I don't know if I have like one particular moment.
Okay.
I like what's happening with the various different tensions between the characters and between their like cross purposes. I mean, specifically between Elias and Adriel, I think is the biggest and most obvious one. But I think there are these other minor things that are definitely going to be interesting tensions to explore. So I'll just loop that right into my wishes that we continue to do that and see more of who these people are and their nuances and stuff like that.
I'm with you. Nick, thoughts, stars, and wishes.
Thoughts? This has been on my want to play list for quite some time, and I'm loving every minute of it. So thank you for the opportunity. I love the progression and the world that's been created that we're playing in. So thank you. That's initial thoughts so far. Star for me, Robert. The moment he had Adriel say, "Where's the keys?" Oh shit, what's he doing? You know, it was like this great RP moment that really defines the tone of his character right out the rip. Just, hey, welcome to Adriel. And I love that. So well done on that. And then as far as wishes go, my wish is for me to reread my story beats ahead of time again, so I can focus on those. Because, well, session 1, we were still getting used to the, you know, what mystery is, etc. So I'm going to make sure that that's a focus next time.
Yeah, and in fairness, Nick, keep in mind that I haven't really kicked off your story yet. That's still to come, right? So I've that's a little bit on me too. So
Same here. Mine really haven't kicked off either.
Yeah. All right, thoughts, stars, and wishes for you, Robert.
Let's see here. I'm gonna give my star. Let's see. Close this out of here. I think to DJ, just because there was quite a few moments when him and I were saying the same thing or just right on the same page. It was funny because that actually has me kind of rethinking our history. So I'm kind of like, all right, well, maybe, because we're kind of similar. So, but anyway, so that's where that's going. Wishes. Right now, my wish has been granted. We're playing this thing. So it's a little early to really ask for more or whatever. So far, it's there. So I don't really have anything in the future that I'm looking for right now. I guess the wish would be that we can keep going in a timely manner between games. So because I know there's some things coming up, but still as long as every other week and we can get it to that every week thing or whatever would be great. But life is life. Thoughts. I'm kind of running with Nick, man. I've been wanting to be a player in Monster of the Week forever. And I said this off camera, but I want to say it on camera. Craig, thank you very much for what you do and your channel. And thank you for the people on Discord to run these types of games. I'm very grateful and appreciative of that. So thank you very much.
Of course, man. You're a valuable part of the community, and we have a cool community on the Patreon Discord. So yeah, appreciate it, brother. All right, DJ, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
You were sold heavy to me. I had so many people saying, you got to get DJ. You got to get DJ. You got and I was expecting this unbelievable role playing experience to play with you, and I got it. Which makes me super happy. You were not oversold.
I know. I was going the other way.
Right. No.
And
you were not oversold, so it makes me super happy that you're playing, and I hope this is not the last game here on the channel that you get to play, because this was a great first session. You never know how a GM is going to jive with a new player. You never know how players, I know you've played with Nick before. I don't know if you've played with Robert before, but you just never know. Like, everybody's just go, which is great. So I appreciate that. So thoughts, stars, and wishes from you, DJ.
So thoughts is a really fun system. I had a friend of mine who was GMing their own Monster of the Week, and that's where I first heard of it. It was probably last year. And I was like, and so when Maeve contacted me and said that there was a Monster of the Week game that was casting players, I was like, oh, dope. I want to give that a try. Because I don't get to play a lot of the more narratively based systems that often. I was a small part of writing one a couple of years ago that got super popular, so I haven't gotten a chance to play that one yet, which I'm jonesing for. So this has been a lot of fun, and it was a really, really fun first session.
Very good. Stars, what really stood out for you?
I think the star for me was also Robert, who just said things with just a dead seriousness in his character that I'm just like trying not to crack up on Mike. Because he said, like, where are the keys? I'm like, what do you mean, where are the keys? And I was just like playing along as though he does that. This is it, don't worry about him. He's like that. Just like pretty much.
Yeah, I'm definitely digging the humorless Adriel that you got going on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of looking like how he is and how he came back, and from what he was to what he's supposed to be. So I don't think he's really very comedic.
No, he's a serious person. That's pretty obvious. Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, he has some leeway because he was human. I kind of look at him kind of like Spock a little bit.
Excellent.
He has that Vulcan side, but sometimes the human side pops out.
and it's like that
what I'm going
inexplicable rapport that he and Declan have. I also do think is really funny.
Yeah,
I do
Of, like,
too. I do too.
What weed, which I love because we meant it two entirely different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
You had incinerated. I had every intention of stealing it.
I think
It's just
one
like
thing
stronger.
oh, that's really funny. One thing I've been thinking about, and it's something for the two of you, I think, to think about is, I mean, Declan, you're an initiate in a secret society order, and I wonder what Adriel feels and thinks about that order. So that's something we can talk, we can talk offline about, but
Yeah.
like, is Adriel a fan? Not a fan?
See, I think that's part of my whole thing with him, like not understanding where he fits in, and that's
Yeah.
kind of when I'm looking at that, like he's in this order.
Yep.
Is that going to have some play?
Yeah,
that
and I
hasn't been
could-
defined to me yet.
Yes, I think that kind of plays into my wish a little bit because I had the same question. Like the bond to the connections that Declan has to Van and to Elias are pretty obvious. I think that the one with Adriel is a little bit murkier on purpose.
Mhm.
And the question of where does Declan fit in Adriel's story?
Yeah.
We know that like Adriel is a part of this, is an important part of this prophecy of the sect, though we don't know exactly how. But as far as Adriel knows, Declan is just some guy. And so in my head, there's a little level of indifference there, but also don't know how, yes, he does relate to the order that I'm a part of or what that will look like moving forward. So that'd be my wish, is like learning a bit more about that connection and what that entails.
So your organization or sector, whatever, I'm prophesized.
There is a prophecy related to my sect that includes you.
Okay.
In what exact way, Declan does not know. It's not clear if there's a more precise prophecy within the order that Declan is just not privy to. And that's what we'll
So
figure out as time goes on.
So that might be something when we were talking, Craig, about things I may or may not have that could come into play with that. If you want to go back and look at our thread.
Yeah, no question. All right, guys. So tomorrow afternoon, we are playing Call of Cthulhu. We're starting a new Call of Cthulhu run. We're playing a pretty well-known scenario called Forget Me Not. It's going to be my take on it. It's a little bit different, but not a whole lot of different. It's an excellent scenario if you haven't seen it. So if you want to tune in tomorrow, you can catch that. And then on Thursday, I'm starting another Call of Cthulhu game, and we're going to doing the Isle of the Damned, which is an homage to the old 70s grindhouse cinema. Unlike the mystery-laden Call of Cthulhu that you're going to see tomorrow, the one on Thursday is just gore and just over-the-top grindhouse style.
Nice.
And so it'll be two very different versions of Call of Cthulhu. We'll have to see how well Call of Cthulhu can handle two different games with two very completely different tones. But we are set for next week. Is that right? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be here next Saturday. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.